손이 가끔씩 떨릴 때가 있는데 겁쟁이처럼 보이지 않았으면 좋겠네요.
Coming in as hot as the Southeast Asian summer, Dawn Office fixer Sinclair is the new king of burn teams. Now, with the latest May 9th update of Limbus Company, this already extremely powerful ID has been buffed quite significantly, specifically on how his SP mechanic works and his passive condition. To further prove how absolutely broken these buffs are, let's take a look at Sinclair when he was released. So, at the start of the Walpurginacht event, Dawn Sinclair was introduced as the first ID that could transform into a much stronger mode by manifesting his ego, the Waxen Pinion. This is basically just another version of Phillip's ego in Library of Ruina. Now, needless to say, Sinclair with Waxen Pinion is absolutely broken. Not only does he have high damage potential, extremely good clashing power, the ability to spread burn like wildfire, but he also makes his skill 2 AoE, which is a bit ridiculous if I'm being honest. However, this passive did come at a huge cost. First of all, to even enter Waxen Pinion, Sinclair has to accumulate maximum SP, which is a bit of a problem considering how his ID has really poor clashing power in his normal state compared to other 3 stars. He also has an extremely abysmal skill 1, which really does not complement his playstyle, but for now, let's assume that Sinclair could gain 45 SP pretty easily. After he has done so, he would consume 35 SP to manifest the Waxen Pinion. This cost is equivalent to the cost of using Sun Shower Yi Sang or Ishmael's Blind Obsession, which is to say it's a massive investment. More importantly, Sinclair cannot keep this ego state for free. Instead, he has to maintain his SP above 0 at all times if he wishes to stay in this state. So, what's the problem? Just don't use his ego and don't spend his SP. Well, it's not that simple. To begin with, every single turn spent in Waxen Pinion causes Sinclair to lose SP, with each following turn draining more SP than the last. It starts at 5 SP on the first turn, with an increment of 5 SP per following turn. So, turn 2 would cost him 10 SP, 15 SP on turn 3, 20 on turn 4, etc. This meant that Sinclair has to clash a lot and have his SP healed constantly in order to keep dishing out strong attacks in his Waxen Pinion state. Speaking of which, all of his skills in this state cause SP to use, even his skill 1. So in short, Dawn Sinclair was consuming more SP in a single battle than Rogia has consumed food her entire life. But all of this was worth it, purely because of how absolutely broken his skill 2 and skill 3 is with Volatile Ego. First and foremost, his clashing power increases tenfold with this passive. That's a stretch, but you get what I mean. So long as you had a little above 20 SP and 3 Wrath Resonance, his skill 2 could win virtually any clash, and it can deal that much more damage due to gaining more attack weight. Second, he gains access to possibly the best skill 3 outside of the charge category ever, Blazing Strike. Now, this skill is stupid. And stupid as in I have no idea who thought these conditionals were balanced at all. I could end this part basically by saying how this skill rolls above 30 consistently, beating out most egos in the game. In fact, it isn't even the interesting part of this skill at all. With 4 Wrath Absolute Resonance, this skill gains 20% damage for each Wrath skill, up to 120% at 6 Wrath skills. This is absolute bonkers. And with a lot of burn on the enemy, which is probably granted due to how he is built alongside a burn team, he gains 4% damage per burn stack on the enemy, up to 120% at 30 burn stacks. Now, these two conditionals add up to 240% of added extra damage, which sounds like a lot. And because it is a lot, it's too much actually. And for so cheap, you could reach this state in no time at all. With a burn team like the Liu team, You have so many Wrath skills that basically every other turn is an absolute resonance for Wrath. And Burn as well. You take like how many turns? 5? No, way less than 5 turns to ramp up 30 Burn on a single enemy. So basically this skill will be doing 200 more % damage every time you use it. Because it's a skill 3, it needs to cycle. Anyway, this skill is stupid as fuck. And it is definitely on the same levels of To Claim Their Bones. Except it doesn't even have to lose a clash. So, with all of those skills in mind, his game plan was like so. You would have the team play around his resonance, his burn, and his SP. Once he manifests his ego, you need to help him maintain it and cycle his skills well so he can dish out a lot of damage with Wrath Absolute Resonance. Support IDs like Base Yi Sang and Base Hong Lu are invaluable because they could heal Sinclair's SP by 16 every turn, eliminating any SP loss from his skill usage, and ensuring he stays in his volatile ego state for more than 3 turns. Not to mention, Faust could also keep it going forever if less resonance happened every turn, which isn't hard considering how Sinclair has a less defense skill. So in general, this Sinclair ID is broken, but it isn't broken for no reason. Managing his SP is a hassle, and strict team building was required so he could meet his conditionals as well as activate his resonant-based passive. Final verdict from me would be that he is great in most teams, but he only shines the most with Liu teams that can bench Yi Sang, Hong Lu, and has a lot of SP healing egos, which make him sort of balanced since he couldn't just be put anywhere to solve all your problems, unlike Sinclair or Enclair. However, that didn't seem to be enough for Limbus players because new patch drop and he had all of his weaknesses and restrictions eliminated. Okay, first buff, he now only consumes 20 SP at 40 or above to enter Waxen Pinion. So his passive condition activates immediately without any support IDs to heal him up because he now just has 20 SP by default upon entering Volatile Ego. Paired with the fact that his passive now is no longer resonant based but resources own based. Sinclair can now literally clash anything out of existence immediately upon manifesting ego and stack burn up so high. The enemy is probably ashes before he can even clash. And by extension, he can gain SP reliably by having a very high chance to roll heads, eliminating needs to bench Yi Sang or Hong Lu, which in turn opens up more team building choices for Sinclair. Now he can basically fit anywhere, and any of his skills would work well. Albeit Wrath-based burn teams are still his best fit, but now Sinclair's is much more of a generalized ID than he was before, which definitely missed the mark in my opinion because Sinclair already had IDs that could do that. They're N-Corp Sinclair and Sync Association Sinclair. So this stupid ID was that broken at launch and is now insanely broken. You know what? Fuck this. Good night guys. N-Clair and Sync Association Sinclair are definitely getting the boot now.